part, we talk about media literacy. What is media literacy? Media literacy is first of all ability, and its ability to quality assess, analyze, evaluate, create, and participate in society based on the messages in different forms and formats. These messages are sent through media and different media outlets. When we talk about media, I think this is a common knowledge that media as a word comes from Latin word medium, which means surrounding through which the message is sent. Media literacy is something that is really needed in today's societies. Media literacy is combined basically out of 4 parts. First part of media literacy is education itself. Education is needed in order to know what is media, how to properly consume media, how to protect ourselves while using different media outlets, and how to recognize false information, how to recognize fake news, and how to recognize, for example, clickbait. Second segment of media literacy is self-expression. Self-expression means that we are able to express ourselves in use of media, in media themselves. Self-expression only comes after we have proper education. If we go to the level of self-expression and we don't have proper education, or we don't know that maybe we are creating some media updates that are based on clickbait, we will not contribute to media literate society. Third level of media literacy is questioning. Constant process of questioning, checking if the information are true, checking if the sources that we're using are true, and checking if they are correct. And last but not least segment of media literacy is understanding media. And this can also go before the education, but also underlines after all 3 levels have been met. Understanding media means understanding specific media channel, understanding how media is consumed, and understanding how to properly use different media channels. Media literacy itself is multi-dimensional. What does that mean? Media literacy has at least 3 dimensions. I say at least because, as you know, probably the AI is now booming, and probably at some point we will have next 4th level of media literacy. In the first level of media literacy, called general level, it underlines general reading and writing. If we compare it to historical development of media, historical development and history itself, we can see that first media in the last 300 or 400 years, first media outlets were actually created when the printing machine was created and when mass printing of books started. And at that time we needed some general reading and writing skills. Also today, in order to consume media, we need some general reading and writing. We cannot consume any media if we don't know how to read or how to write. We can maybe consume it in a smaller level, but not sufficient enough. Second level of media literacy is media level, and it underlines skills of successful critical use of media. What is critical use of media? It means that we know which media outlet that we are using, we know how to consume it properly, and we know how to recognize all the negative sides, all the negative things that can happen in the media outlets. And the third level is called new media, and it started with the development of internet and with the mass use of internet and channels of media outlets provided through internet. Third level underlines successful critical use of new media, mostly produced through the internet, mostly delivered through internet as the main channel. Hello and welcome to this part of the webinar that is dedicated to session about media literacy. After you had a chance to learn more about media literacy in the first part that I introduced the topic and I introduced also some of the key dimensions of media literacy, in this part of the webinar we show you practical activity, practical session that you can implement with either young people or with youth workers. This session about media literacy has objectives that are dedicated for participants to learn what is media literacy, what are the key topics and key terms connected to media literacy. They will analyze a bit apps they use and develop a bit of critical thinking and critical understanding of the apps they use. and by the end they will be able to define what key terms they want to use in their further work, either as young people, as participants, what they want to research more, or as youth workers, what are the topics they want to further explore as part of their local activities and as part of their activities with youngsters. Activities initially developed for a duration of 75 minutes, but of course if you have more advanced group it can take longer and you can dedicate more time to discussions, or if you have less advanced group, maybe it can be done even in an hour. You can cut some of the steps in the process. Minimum number of participants is 10, maximum number is 40. We suggest to work with groups between 20 and 30 participants in order to have everyone equally involved and have a chance to participate in each section, each step of the workshop. Basic tools, basic materials are needed: A3 and A4 papers, post-it notes papers, flipchart papers, and you will need also a projector and laptop to show the video that we have as one of the steps of the session of the workshop. We start with defining the concepts. If you're working with smaller groups, this can be done individually or in pairs. If you're working in larger groups, then you will divide them into 8 smaller groups with 3, 4, or a bit more participants. When we go through these key terms, we have them listed here in the session, and they are media literacy, participation, literacy, critical thinking, fake news, disinformation, etc. If you're dealing with specific topics or specific, if you're using this session as part of specific training courses or larger pieces of educational activities, you can further cut some of these terms, or you can add additional terms that you might need. After participants are divided into the groups, they need to define these terms first without using any source of information. In the next step, you can allow them to use the source of information and further improve what they discovered so far, and the presentation can be done in format of educational posters or in format of oral presentations, again depending on the size of the group and the time that you have. In the second step, we will have some additional inputs from trainers. This is the part where you share some inputs about the media literacy, and this is a great point of time to actually conclude everything that has been said by the groups, and to wrap up this part and to wrap up some conclusions about these key terms. In the third step, you will start by opening up your laptop and putting the projector on and showing the video. We have here suggestion of a video that is long for 6 minutes and 40 seconds, but of course you can further adjust it and use some other video. The key topic here is why do we consume fake news and why do we like to consume fake news. Next step after that is actually giving a chance for participants to write down which applications they use on their phones. They can write it down on a flipchart paper if you are dealing with smaller group. If you are dealing with a larger group, they can write it down on post-it notes, which can be then posted on either the paper again or on the wall of your working room. Key point here is actually to discuss with participants which applications they use, do they pay for them, and what do they think if they use free apps, how come those apps are free, and how come some of the popular social media apps are free. And of course, the last step of the session is the briefing and discussion. Of course, always our suggestion is to follow what is happening during the session. Here we posted some of the debriefing questions that you might use, but of course adapted based on what has been said during the workshop. And then in the last part, you will see some of the suggestions of what tools you can use if you implement this workshop in online surrounding, and some tips and tricks for trainers, such as that you should have a good quality internet to show, you should investigate, actually research about these terms and know about these terms in advance. And here are some expected outcomes that I presented already in the beginning as well.